you have any question and I can answer, please do so. I know it is emotional, it's hard, so if you want it, I tell you how I spent it the first day in the United States. I came just before Christmas of 1949. And in the morning I awakened and I went for a ride on the subway. And I traveled, and finally when the subway stopped, I did see everybody black. I thought that I landed in another country. Poland is small. Well, they look at me, I look at them. I was scared, I didn't know what language I would speak. Finally, handsome black guy that was in World War II in an army. I look German, blonde, blue-eyed. He asked me in German, "Fräulein, did you get lost?" I grabbed his hand. I say, "Yes, please tell me, what country is that?" He was laughing, and he say, "I assure you, this is still United States of America. This is Harlem, where many blacks live." He was so kind that he took me on the other side and tried to explain how I get back to Grand Central Station. Well, when I came there, so many doors, so many signs, to me it doesn't mean anything. I didn't know where my place was, where I was staying. I was in trouble. I did see policemen, so I did go to him and start my languages. In Polish, in German, in Russian, big group of people, but nobody tell me where I am and where I go. Finally, in desperation, I said Yiddish. And from all sides people were on it. Because that was 49, and the survivors, the Jewish survivors were coming. So I find out where I'm living, and I find out that the Yiddish was the second language in New York at that time. So I survived. Now, you have any questions? Yes, hon?
Did you ever find any members of your family?
Thank you so much, yes. I was separated from 1939 to 1984. 1984, when the film was made The Courage to Kill, I went to Poland and I find my 4 younger sisters. I was the oldest one. I left them, they were pretty little girls. When I find them, they were gray-haired women. But I am thankful to God that they survived, and I visit the graves of my mother and father. My father was killed by the Germans just before Russia took over, but I have still my sisters. Thank you, hon, for asking.
Do they live in the United States?
My sisters, 2 visiting me. One is 2 years and one is 1 year, but they don't have a green cards, and they will have to sometimes return. But in meantime, sometimes like 3 little girls, we talk, we laugh, we giggle, we remember how it was when we were home before the war. Anybody else? Yes, honey?
How did your mom die?
How my mother died? My mother died in 1957. She did have a stroke. My father was killed by the German in 1945, just before the Russian took over that part. Okay? Thank you, honey.
How did you manage with the feeding everybody when you were hiding them?
That was the easiest, because I still served dinners for the German officers, and then Major did have many big parties in his villa, and I was serving dinners to the German officers and secretaries. I pleaded with them to give me the Russian tickets. You know, they didn't to buy clothing, to buy this. I was always saying, I have so many cousins and nephews and people please give me. For that, I was able to buy warm clothing, shoes, to bring blankets, to bring to the forest, to the other people that were hiding there, around 200. Well, that was and you know, I did find it that I didn't plan that way. In the last minute, there was the opportunity, but that was the best hiding place in Tarnopol, in the German Major Villa. And the Gestapo man, the head of the Gestapo, was coming for dinner. They did have parties, and they were underneath. Yes.
Did the major question where these, your friends were afterwards? I mean,
Well, when I left with them to the forest, that was last time I did see him, because he did have to leave. Yes, honey?
You found the hiding place. They were there or they still
No, when I first tell them, they came by themselves through the ghetto, through the different things. They came in a slide down to the cellar. Yeah, they were there, yes. Yes, honey?
even in the German farm, they get like common break for the cellar and they see that trap door so
No, there was not a trap door. There was the steps to go like to cellar.
I know.
And from the cellar, in the cellar was a servant's quarters, you know, that servants that for maids or they did. And there was a one room that had bathroom and they have a little kitchenette and this. And so I planned for them to stay there. But I was scared because the major wanted to have big parties. So he said he will bring orderly. So we were so lucky to find another hiding place underneath the gazebo, where the Jewish people were only then when the major did have big parties. Otherwise, they were in the servant quarters. Yes, honey? I didn't understand the question, honey.
What was the closest that he ever made to finding?
Well, he did find it us when I returned. Well, before that, he did not know that he did have invisible gas. And you know that he did have many parties. And I was so scared that if I will not be able to prepare everything, that he would send it some German officers or this. So what I did, when the major was not home, the Jewish people helped me to make the parties, make the food. And he thought I am a magician. Yeah. Yes.
Did any of the 12 want to go out and get their relatives or friends and bring them?
Well, there was, that already was liquidated.
I'm sorry.
Their ghettos and lagers were liquidated. They would not know where they are. And they brought it, 6 of them. They were in the laundry room, 12. 6 of them, they were so scared to wait to the last minute that I had them to go to the forest. But when I found the people in the cellar, in the major villa, there were 12 again, because they brought it, some of the family. Yes?
Whatever happened to the major?
Well, he was a 68 years old man. I was at that time 19 going on 20. So he left, and at that time I did not know what happened to him. Yes?
How do you respond to people when they say that the average German citizen didn't know what was going on?
Well, I don't believe it with that. That same thing in Poland, you know, because there were the concentration, they could smell it too. But many of them, like in Poland, Poland was taken by Germans, was not a free country. Many of the people died trying to help. And many of them, they were bad, and they would give their own mother for vodka or the food. So I don't believe it, you know, that only those that were not born maybe did not know. Yes?
Did the major only know about the women, or did he later find out about the
No. He only knew about the women. He did not ask, and we did not tell them. You know, he did not ask. No, I did not see Hitler face to face, but I did see the Sturmbannführer Rokita. He was a murderer, and he was incarnation of Hitler. Yes, honey?
How many, did
No. They were locally, thanks God, 2 of them were in a forest that were from the place where I work, and she did have a bad cold that she would die. I brought her one time to the villa. I just did write book. I could stay here and tell you for 2 weeks, but in a book, it is a story from A to Z, and if you, maybe your library will get the book and you could read it. It is really a story of a young girl. It is not a story like professor would write, with a psychological find out. It is my story, the same way as I am speaking to you, but explaining a little better. Yes, hon?
Are any of the 12 people still alive?
Oh, yes. That's the reason I've been invited to Jerusalem to plant the tree, because they said they don't give you because you say so. You know. So the young boy, you know, and then his parents were still alive 10 years ago, and then another 2 people that confirm my story. That's the reason I was invited to Jerusalem to plant the tree. Okay? Thank you, hon. Oh, we are all tucked out? Yes.
I was in Poland 6 months ago, and I was speaking with some people at dinner, and one man said, something was wrong with Poland today, there are no Jews here, not the orchestra, so my words. That was a tough experience. But I think there are business opportunities in Poland today. Do you agree with that?
Yes, they are. They are. And I know my sister, 4 years ago when I was in Poland, in Germany and Poland for the bar mitzvah of the little boy, my sister invited from 3 villages people. And for the first time I told my story in Polish, which was very hard because my husband was American, I did not speak Polish, I forgotten. It was so hard, I did have really to push the right button in my computer to really be able to speak. And you know, it was amazing. Many of the people my age or older, they were telling the story. I never forget one woman said, you know, Irene, I was with my little boy hiding behind the house, and I did see the Germans there was a swamps with, you know, the people were drowning in it. There was a bridge over, and the Gestapo was pushing mothers and children into the swamp. She said, I heard them screaming, the crying, but what could I do? And I remind myself when I was standing and watching the death march, the people going to death, the children screaming. I was young, and I did a feeling at first, I want to jump, and with my bare hands to strangle. I was afraid. And if I would do so, I would be dead. And many of the people would be not safe. So war is awful things, and special prejudice. Hitler that wants to wipe the whole nation. And seeing you, I see that the new generation grow and Israel will be strong. You know, if Israel would be stayed before the war, there would not be 6 million of innocent people. That's the reason. Jewish people, whatever country, wherever, Israel has to be strong. Because when Israel is strong, that is a safety for all Jewish people. And you are part of it. You are still so young, but remember, be proud, learn, study, because you are important for now and for the future.
Thank you, Irene. And I know that we have some refreshments, et cetera, and if you have